Hi everyone, Armine Bazikyan here. This month I wanted to talk to you guys about a question that comes up frequently, and I'm noticing that this is something in the community that a lot of people think is true, but it's actually extremely false. So the misconception in the community is that if the person creates a revocable trust, that trust provides them with some sort of magical shield against lawsuits, creditors, all their problems in life go away magically, and that is absolutely not true. So I kind of want to describe exactly what a revocable trust is so that you can better understand and educate yourself and be able to make the right decision for you and your family. And this might be a misconception that's also created by practitioners, legal professionals out there that are perhaps lying to their clients or not explaining the truth correctly to their clients, but it leads to this misconception in the community that I don't like seeing. So a revocable trust by definition means that this trust that you've created can be revoked, meaning you could tear it up, get rid of it. It also means that you can amend it most of the time. So a revocable trust is something that you, as the person that created this trust, have total control over. Now, the key word here is control. Because you're keeping that control and you have the control over this document, you can get rid of it, you can make changes to it, you could do whatever you want, right? 100% control is in your hands as the creator of this trust. Then, if we fast forward to a situation where you have a lawsuit, anytime you have control over an asset, it's going to be something that a person that you owe money to is going to be attaching, right? So during a lawsuit or a judgment or a creditor claim against you, when they come after you as the person, they're going after everything that you have control over as a person. And if you have control over the things that you have placed into that revocable trust, right? Because that's what the trust says. It says you kept control. It's revocable. If you kept control and a judge reads through that document and sees that you have the right to take things out of the trust, he's going to say, you know what? Go ahead and take out that property. Let's sell it and let's pay off this guy that you owe $500,000 to and he's got a judgment against you, okay? So the key word here is control. When it comes to lawsuits and judgment creditors, I want you to ask yourself, do I have control over that asset? And if the answer is yes, then it's going to be something that someone can come after, right? Very simple formulation. Of course, there's a lot of subsects and other nuances to consider, but for the most part, that is why a revocable trust does not provide you with creditor protection. Now, does it provide you with other types of protection? Or you might be asking yourself, then why am I even creating this thing, right? Yes, it does provide you with other protection. So it protects you from having your loved ones go to court. So it provides probate protection, right? It also provides protection from Medi-Cal recovery if you're a Medi-Cal recipient. So there's a lot of other benefits that it has, but not necessarily the creditor protection. Okay, so we want to focus on what it is that is your goal and whether or not this document accomplishes that goal, whether this trust accomplishes what you're trying to do. Now, if an attorney has drafted a revocable trust for you and told you that it's going to save you from your lawsuits and that no one can touch anything that you have in this revocable trust, if an attorney tells you that to your face, I want you to turn and run the other way. That means they're lying straight to your face, or they have no idea what they're talking about, that they are a part of this community that doesn't know the work that they're doing and is only perpetuating this myth and only making it grow. This myth monster is growing bigger and bigger in the estate planning community. So please be very careful, okay? A revocable trust, you maintain control, and because you have control, you can take out that asset and pay your creditors. So remember that. Now, that's not to say that all trusts are revocable. In the bigger world of trusts, we have revocable trusts and we have irrevocable trusts, meaning you can't make changes to it. You cannot. And so if you do want that level of creditor protection where in case of a lawsuit they can't touch the assets in this trust, you have to be willing to let go of some control. And that's when we have an irrevocable trust come into play that does provide asset protection. Okay, and protection against those judgment and those creditors that might come up in the future. So you have to be very careful what it is that you're having done for you, whether it's a revocable trust or an irrevocable trust. And again, be very, very cautious of professionals who advise you that a revocable trust does provide protection, because that is a flat out lie. That trust will not provide you with any protection. There might be a perceived protection because the entire estate planning community thinks that a trust does provide protection. So maybe somebody suing you might see that your property is in a trust and say, I don't know whether that's revocable or irrevocable. It might be an asset protection trust. So there might be a perceived notion that you have some sort of complex trust, but for the most part, a revocable trust does not provide any level of protection. And if you have a professional in your life that told you otherwise, I want you to call my office, talk to me, and I will help you get through understanding the correct facts. Now, as I mentioned before, the estate plan, which has a revocable trust for most people, does provide other levels of protection. It protects against probate, which means that when time comes and you've passed away and we need to transition the assets to your loved ones, they're protected, right? And your trust could be set up in a way where it becomes irrevocable for your beneficiaries. So you may not have that protection because it's a revocable trust during your life, but your kids, when you die, it becomes irrevocable and they'll get that irrevocable trust protection. So for my kids, for example, when they inherit their assets, they're inheriting it in an irrevocable trust, and it provides asset protection to them. So there are ways to utilize the revocable trust to also provide future generations with protection. And as I mentioned before, if you are a recipient of Medi-Cal, it prevents and protects against Medi-Cal recovery claims. So there are a few nuances that go into it. So there are other protections that a trust provides, probate being the most important one. If you feel like you need to talk to our office, call us up and give us your information, and we'll be able to advise you more specific to your situation. Feel free. We provide free consultations. We'd be happy to sit down with you and talk about what it is that you're experiencing and whether or not it's going to accomplish the goals that you have in place in your mind, and whether the documents you might have in place accomplish those goals. If not, we can redo your estate plan and make sure that it's done correctly. Give us a call.